Hi, and welcome to Chronicles of Tao by Deng Ming Dao, one of my favourite authors. So the subject for today is Taoism, learning from the natural world, from this great book, which must be read and reread. Trust me on this one. The frog, explained Mist through a grove, is a master of Qi Gong. He is constantly exercising the three locks. Squatting locks the anus. Inflating his chest locks the diaphragm. And his eyes look constantly at his third eye, locking his head. With its mind on the divine and its body locked in its meditation posture, it practices Qigong and permits no Qi to escape. The frog's Qigong is the best of all. He can jump unusual distances, and he can store tremendous amounts of Qi. So in Qigong we have various gates and locks in the body. And we're not just talking about the physical body, but the entire energetic system of man, the energy body, or the energy bodies. Qi flows through the energy channels or meridians, and we can learn to store Qi in the body through cultivation exercises like Qigong and various forms of internal martial arts like Tai Chi. So these gates can also be locked with practice. And by observing the frog in this case, we see that he is able to lock certain parts of his body in order that energy doesn't escape. In that way, he's able to store energy to jump long distances. And he can store tremendous amounts of Qi, energy, life force. So, the next lessons are about spring, summer, autumn, winter, 4 seasons. Mating was a natural event, and the Taoists never denied anything that was natural. Animals mate only during spring, Mist through a grove told Sai-Hung. In some species, male and female do not even intermingle a great deal. All the animals practice celibacy, and in doing so they preserve their life force. Look at the achievements of the masters, continued Sound of Clear Water. If you want to preserve your health, attain longevity, and pierce life's mysteries, you must seal in the life force through the 3 locks, and practice Qigong and meditation to retain and circulate the life force that is rooted in Jing, or sexual essence. It's sometimes called sexual energy or sexual power. The Hindu mystics were adept at various forms of tantric sexuality in which they were able to make use of the life force and channel the living force, channel the energy, the Qi. And they were able to store it as well through various forms of meditation, Kundalini practices, and other esoteric techniques. So, all the animals practice celibacy in the winter, when they hibernate. And Jing is stored in the Dantian, which is about 1.5 inches below the navel. It's also in Toltec terms called the will, which are energy lines which extend out just below the area of the abdomen, just below the abdomen. So the area which is about 1.5 inches below the navel is a very important point, energy point, or place of power. It's the centre of energy, the sexual centre. And it kind of makes sense because, sexual energy is the very impetus, the force that gives life to everything. So it's only natural that sexual energy would be the most powerful form of energy, because everything comes into being in the world, in the universe, through sex, through mating, procreation. Right? So, and I'm just reading the passages, I'm not reading the paragraphs continuously, chronologically. I'm just emphasising the main points which I've underlined in one of my rereads. So they show them more anatomical diagrams. The body has different centres all in a line, said Mist through a grove. Each one, from the bottom of the torso to the crown of the head, will provide certain powers to the practitioner. Energy is needed to open these centres. The highest point is the crown, and it is difficult to refine one's energy and raise it that high. In order to do this, Jing reacts with breath and becomes Qi. Qi is circulated and transformed into spirit. It is spirit energy that reaches the top. Now, spirit energy in Taoism is called Shen. The sexual energy is called Jing. And through various forms of cultivation exercises and the retaining of sexual energy and the transformation of that energy, we transform Jing into Qi, which is essential body energy. And when that energy is raised up through the central channel to the crown of the head, becomes spirit energy, or Shen. It's the highest form of energy known in Taoism. The animals, through the practices we showed you, and with the use of celibacy, preserve their Jing and remain in the spiritual. Should you engage in sex, you will deplete your Jing. No Jing means no Qi. No Qi means no spirituality. Now they're ascetics, they're monastics, so they advocate the via negativa, renunciation of the senses of pleasure, of sex, in order to concentrate completely on spiritual development. I'm no bald-headed celibate, so I don't advocate these techniques, but they are age-old respected techniques as part of an age-old respected path of asceticism or renunciation, which is able to go beyond the life of the senses into the spiritual realms. With the idea being, if there's no distractions through sexual desire for material things, prosperity, social status and the like, then we can concentrate fully on our spiritual evolution and become enlightened beings to realise the Tao, self-realisation. Look how wrinkled that one is, said Sound of Clear Water. He's probably no older than 40, but his face is wrinkled. His hair is grey and falling out. Why? No Jing. He expends too much of it and does not have knowledge of the locks and upward circulation. He's stooped over His breathing is shallow and his body appears stiff and brittle. Compared to any Taoist here, he is unequal to any one of them, even twice his age. The Taoists placed great emphasis on longevity, and the more you were able to store and build chi, the better chance you had of living a long and healthy life. I mean, even the age of 90 or 100 wasn't considered old by these monks and warriors. And there's stories of Taoists who lived well beyond 100, well beyond 150. I mean, the oldest on record is a Taoist master who lived to be an incredible 256 years old. Apparently there are records to prove it. So, and there's actually photos of him online, if the story is to be believed. But anyway, even this guy at 40 who hadn't preserved his Jing, his life force, appeared old. He had less energy, he had less vitality, less spirituality than these warriors and monks who were twice his age. So it does say something for these ascetic practices. Everything is cyclical, he said. The world follows the seasons. The seasons, spring, summer, fall and winter, follow one another. The animals live in harmony with the seasons. In spring they mate. In summer they bear their young. In autumn they nurture their young and prepare for winter. In winter they either maintain stillness or migrate. But everything is aimed at survival. Rodents burrow. Turtles and bears hibernate. The weak die. Each year you should also follow the seasons. Spring is a time for new growth, movement, exercise and fresh activity. Summer is a time to release your vigour fully, to work on endeavours begun. Autumn is a time of harvest, but also of preparation for winter. Winter is a time when nothing moves. Everything withdraws into the earth or dies. That is when you should withdraw into yourself. Meditate. The course of your life will also follow the patterns of the seasons. Now you are in the spring of your life. You must go forward, bursting like the buds on the trees. You must act any way you feel. You're a child. And if you don't act mischievous or playful, you wouldn't be normal. But as you grow older, remember that the spring is also the optimum time to plant the seeds of your future. In the summer of your life, be a strong, proud and able youth. Cultivate yourself. Make achievements. Explore. Leave nothing undone that should be started. Do everything. Satisfy all the emotions. But do so with moderation and within the context of your philosophy. Whether you must sometimes be active or retreating, shining or veiled, good or even evil, you must come forth and do great things in the summer of your life. In autumn, you will reap what you have sown. Once you're in middle age, you will have set your life's course. The consequences of your earlier acts and decisions will begin to appear. How important it is to reach this stage with no regrets. This should be the time you begin to slow down, to teach others, collect your rewards, and make preparations for old age. Old age is winter. You become still. Your hair becomes ice and snow. You meditate, contemplate life's meaning, prepare for death. Many men are afraid of death because they are ignorant of what it is and when it will come. They think death is an ending. It isn't. It is a transformation. Life does not cease. It goes in cycles like the seasons. No one in your family has died yet, but you've seen death. You've seen fallen trees, withered wildflowers, corpses of animals in the snows. But have they all ceased to exist? Is death to be a simple fall into immobility and decay? Whether it is a person or animal, the fact is that death is only the casting off of a shell. What you are, what I am, what the animals are, is something intangible, indestructible, formless, a collection of ancestral memories mixed with traces of the past cosmos. We are spirits, and each individual spirit has existed from the very beginning and will continue hurtling through space, changing and evolving into infinity. So, living your life by the four seasons, it doesn't mean that you should wait until old age, the winter of your life, to contemplate life's meaning and purpose and to meditate. So don't wait till you're 70 or 80 years old to do these things. Don't start your spiritual life when you're an old woman. Do it now. Cultivate now, while you still are in the spring and summer of your life. Because if you take, what I do is I take the four seasons as 25-year cycles. So from the age of nothing, being born, to 25 is the spring. From 25 to the age of 50, I'm 44 now, so I'm well into the summer of my life. I have 6 years left of the summer, let's say. And this is the time to make great achievements, to learn everything there is to learn, to experience everything, to live a rich life of travel and exploration, and to cultivate one's energy. So, develop skills, exercise your talents and creativity, make achievements, do it in the summer of your life. And from about the age of 50 to 75 is autumn, the time of harvest where you reap what you sow. So the crops and plants and fruits better be healthy, because the karma is going to ripen. The fruits of karma will ripen, and we want our harvest to be bountiful. We don't want to live a life of regrets. We don't want to have regrets when we get to the autumn of our life. And not many people live to 100. Probably the vast minority of people ever make it to 100 even. But let's say winter begins at the age of 75 to 100. That's a time really to then develop your wisdom, teach, go into seclusion, attain the highest virtues, and ultimately dissolve into Tao. So I think, I forgot to mention the teaching aspect, because Taoists aim to teach their knowledge at a certain point when they've accumulated enough knowledge and wisdom and experience to do so. So the idea is to experience everything and do everything in the spring and summer of your life, to reap what you sow in the autumn, teach what you know in the autumn, and then go into seclusion in the winter and attain the Tao. And that is living your life by the four seasons. And that's exactly what I do. So thanks for listening. Look forward to seeing you next time and discussing more of the Tao. Thanks for listening.